It's every family member's worst nightmare when the one you love vanishes without a trace. Thousands of Americans go missing each year, but not every story makes the headlines. Joining me to discuss this, we have co-founder and director of public relations for the Black and Missing Foundation, Natalie Wilson, associate professor at the Medill School of Journalism at Northwestern University, Ava Thompson Greenwell, president of Peas in Their Pods, Gaetane Borders, and Derrick Butler, whose sister Pamela has been missing for 3 years. And of course, we see billboards being of tremendous help in terms of baby Lisa Irwin, what was seen and discussed in the media. But this is somebody that you probably don't know is missing. And Derrick, I would love to bring you into this and have you tell your story.
That was Pam Butler. My sister went missing back in February of 2009. And we've gotten very little coverage on it. I really believe had we gotten coverage early on when it first happened that we would have had a break in the case because somebody out there saw something because it happened in a major city, happened at her house.
I just want to sit with that for a second. I'm so sorry, guys. This is a tough segment.
It's really tough. It's even harder for me.
This is something that we're going to get into in more detail, but local media often gives decent coverage to local people who go missing, a little bit less biased in terms of what their racial background is. But what about national media? I mean, can you speak to, did you feel that you were represented, that Pamela's case was represented well by the national media, that attention was paid?
No, not at all. Reached out to a lot of the major stations and nobody contacted me back, wrote letters, called in, and we were told that if they had a spot that they would call us, that they would make time for us, but never heard anything from anybody. What
is going on there? Why aren't missing persons of color given more coverage?
Well, I think this is one of the really important questions, and part of the reason that we need to have this conversation is because at the national level, it becomes so important for these missing people to get coverage because who knows what state they might be traveling in.
Absolutely.
And so it's critical. The question is why. So I think there are a couple of reasons that we want to look at. We want to look at who are the gatekeepers in these national newsrooms? And it tends to be not people of color. Mm-hmm. And so I think we have to look at the management side. And also I think we have to look at the reporters themselves. How are the reporters putting forth story ideas? If they're getting pushback from certain stories, why is that? And I think we have to look at the history of journalism. The journalism is not unlike any other institution in the United States. It has experienced racial bias throughout its history and continues to have some of those remnants today. So it's the gatekeepers, I think, that are important.
People don't even realize the frequency at the rate that children go missing and how the racial disparity is. About 42% of children that go missing are of color. People wouldn't know that because it's not represented in the media. And that's problematic for a number of reasons, because if it's not represented accurately, then people of color don't even realize that their children are being preyed upon. And so they don't do things to help prevent that, so it's twofold. The media does have a powerful influence on the way that people think and react when it comes to missing people.
I would love to hear from you. I watched a really stirring, great local story that was on the DC News fairly recently about Pam and your mom, right? And the coverage that they found a great way to sort of bring it back up and shine a light on it. And I'm wondering if your experience with the times after the coverage kind of comes back, or you're able to sort of get the word out in the media, if you get if you receive feedback from your community when those stories air.
We definitely get a lot of feedback from the community when the story airs. Just trying to get the story out is a big challenge for us. But once we get it out there, we get a lot of feedback. We get a lot of extra work from the police department and all trying to help us. Black and Missing has been very big in pushing that for us also. A lot of times we can't push it for ourselves. We actually need help. A lot of times we get worn out from it.